Hello, welcome back to the stream, everybody. Today we're going to be continuing on what I was doing yesterday, which was modifying the Gunforged UI to, I guess, be a little bit more usable, adding drag and drop and stuff like that. So today I'm just going to be messing around with that some more, getting it into a better shape, maybe adding some animations and polish, doing some refactoring. I also want to add drag and drop to the runes, which do not properly support drag and drop, so I might actually start with that just to get this all unified. But I think it's feeling really good. I think it's going in the right direction. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. It's a little bit of an impromptu stream today. I'm trying to use this time to be productive instead of playing Path of Exile 2. So yeah, that's why we're doing this, but also doing it because it's fun, and Gunforged is very nearly complete, so gotta get that work done. Alright, so I forgot to increase the size of this, so while I'm getting this situated, before we get started, I want to remind everyone that if you'd like to support my work, all the ways that you can do so are in the description below. The best way to financially support me at the moment as I go on this full-time indie dev journey is to purchase one of my Udemy courses in which I teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. And if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like and subscribe. You can wishlist Gunforged on Steam. You can play the demo, send me your feedback, all that good stuff. So again, all of that is linked in the description below. All right, now that we're all set up, let's see what we're looking at here. So I've just made a couple of changes this morning, just to some of the usability here. So when I start dragging, the tooltip now disappears so that it looks nicer, and the sprite here disappears as well. So it looks like you're actually taking it out of the slot. And then when you drop it in, then it everything works and that swaps. I still have these hotkeys here, so if I press right click on this, I can still equip and unequip things. So that's great. And then I can also shift and right click to equip. So those hotkeys are still in place for anyone that wants those, but this can also now be dragged as normal. So obviously I got to get these runes working now for drag and drop, and that's going to be a little bit tricky because I kind of invented a custom system for doing that, and I'm sure that's going to take quite a lot of effort to unwind, but let's go ahead and see. So I should commit what I've got here first. Oops, I spelled dragging wrong. That's all right. Okay. So let me get a handle on what's going on here. So this is a scrollable available rune inventory grid. Okay. So let's go ahead and look for that. Scrollable available rune inventory grid. Okay. So let me look at this scene. Actually, I think what I want to look at is there should be something in here that's like an inventory manager. Oh, here. Inventory grid manager component. So what this does is this essentially ties together a bunch of inventory grids. And right now this is being used for the runes. And this is essentially saying all these inventory grids can hold runes. So I can specify those through the inspector here. And that basically says these are all places where runes can end up. And so it knows, like, here's everything it needs to treat as an inventory. Now the thing is holding item. So I think this is where I need to change the dragging. Grid.slot pressed. So in each inventory grid, I've got this slot pressed, and then that triggers on grid slot pressed, which will set up. So right now, instead of being able to drag runes, you click them and then they get stuck to your mouse cursor. So it's a little bit weird. If this project would start, hello, come on, thank you. So if I just click once, it gets attached to the cursor like this. And that's not exactly a drag and drop, is it? So this, put that down there, and then I can't click and drag. I have to click once and then click again. So that's what that code is currently doing, and I need to fix that. Might take me a little bit to get up to speed here, but hello, Joshua. Watched your video the other day. Glad you're out of development hell. A great feeling, I'm sure. It is, yeah. I mean, I think I'm really optimistic about Gunforged. I think there are still some design problems that I need to address. Namely, I need to figure out how to make the gun parts more distinguished from each other. But I really don't think that that's... There are like design problems that are like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna fix this? You know, like I have no clue how to address this. And then there are other design problems where it's like, there's gotta be a solution here. I just gotta prototype some stuff, you know? And this is one of those things where it's like, I've got the 3 gun parts. They are all thematically different, but they're not mechanically different enough to make the choices meaningful. And so there are a number of ways that I can do that and solve that design problem. Which way I'm going to end up solving it, I don't know yet, but I know it's a solvable problem, right? So even though there are still design problems in the game as it stands, I'm optimistic because they don't seem like the kinds of design problems that are really hard to overcome. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching that video and welcome to the stream. Good to see you. How is that video doing anyway? I haven't checked on it in a while. Let's take a look. Almost 6,000 views, that's not bad. Cool. All right, anyway. So on-grid slot press. So I think what I need to do is something similar. So in this inventory grids, grid.slot pressed. So I need to go into my inventory grid here. There's a slot pressed event handler, slot secondary press, slot modified pressed. So I think what I need to do in here is I need to have like a drag started with a specific index. And that means that I need to go down to this inventory slot here. I think I'm going to need to have a signal for drag begin. Public delegate void drag began event handler signal public delegate void drag ended event handler. Okay. These don't need to be here. So I've got drag ended and drag began. So I'm going to copy what I've got from my gun part inventory button here. So get drag data. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and paste this over here. Action cell, action click right. Okay, that's fine. Pressed equals on pressed. I'm actually going to just go ahead and eliminate that signal for now. We're not going to be listening for the pressed signal anymore. We do need a Rune drag preview, which I wonder if I could use the same. No, I might as well create a new drag preview here. So let me open up the gun part drag preview here. Let's see. Actually, Rune texture rect. Yeah, so I think what I'll do, let's create a new scene. Rune drag preview. Scenes, UI, forge, save. This layout here, we're gonna reset the size. I'm gonna add this Rune texture rect here, but we're gonna add a margin container as a parent. Why didn't I do this for the other one? Oh, because it's a sprite 2D. Okay, never mind. Since this is all control elements, this is gonna be fine. Rune texture rect. Inventory Grid Manager, Rune Texture Rect, Icon Texture Rect. Oh, okay. Okay. So this is the Rune Texture Rect. It's a child of margin container. We need to do theme overrides. Yes. Okay, so margin top 8, margin left 8. Why is that not working? Why is that not working? Hello? I added some margins here. Why are you not working? Hello? Why is the margin not working? Am I missing something? Margin top 8, margin right 8. Why are you not changing? Is it a bug? No, there's got to be something wrong here. Rune drag preview. 32 by 32. Well, this should be 30. This should be 40 by 40. Margin container. Do I need to make this a full rect? Okay. Oh, do I need to change this? Okay, well, you know what? I don't need to use that anyway. I'll just have this shrink and... Why is this not working? I must be doing something obviously wrong here. Hello, Aniki. Tommy Toad, huh? Welcome back to the stream. It's good to see you. Always good to see you. I must be doing something wrong here. What is going on? Why is the margin container not... That's very interesting. It works if I add another container. Huh. Layout, transform. So wait, margin container. Yeah, that works fine. Actually, this is wrong. This needs to be margin top and margin left. There we go. So see how it's working there? It's adding that nice 8 pixel padding, and then if I have the Rune texture rect, it's like completely ignoring it. It even ignores it when I put it... Hold on, something's wrong here. Okay, now it's working. Okay. Yeah, it must have been a bug. Yeah, that was a bug then, because now it's working just fine. Because I copied... This is an instantiated scene, and I copied it from a different scene and ported it over here. But I guess that ruined its ability to be positioned correctly, so... I have no clue what that was, but I'm going to chalk it up to a Godot bug. This is working now, so we're all good. Now, I actually don't know if that's enough padding, but we'll see, I suppose. Okay, so we've got the Rune texture rect. Let's go ahead and add a script to this. Scripts UI forge. Game.ui.forge. Node private Rune texture rect. Rune texture rect. Oops. I forgot if it was a toad or a newt. Oh, my name, Firebelly Toad. Some sort of amphibian artillery may fit into this game. That's a fun idea. I'm still trying to decide on like what the theme of the third level is going to be. I'm thinking that the third level is going to be like a crystal cavern, and I was actually thinking about doing a bunch of like crystal creatures. So take like a normal creature like a bear or a frog or something, and then but make it crystalline, so it looks kind of interesting. Has to be something on the texture rect. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. There were some kind of properties I copied over that didn't work right, so Oh well, it is, it's fixed now, so that's good. So Rune drag preview. Okay, so one thing at a time. Let's get this as a unique name. Okay, so before I even set that up, I'm gonna go back to my inventory slot here. And I need to actually open that up. Inventory slot, resource preloader, Rune drag preview. We're gonna put that there. We'll get a reference to that resource preloader here. This can be static. And we'll move this up. Oops. We'll move this stuff up. Okay, node private resource preloader. There we go. And then Rune drag preview. Oops. My typing is very clumsy today. Unfortunate. Private bool was dragging. I'll figure out what to do with this. Drag began, new. Okay, so now I need Rune drag data. So let's go ahead and create a new file here. Rune drag data.cs. I'm just going to copy this script here and rename it. I don't know what data is actually going to be in here, so I'll just delete that for now. Return new Rune drag data. Okay, so we'll just leave that empty for now. I'm mostly just curious to see if this is actually going to work. So let's go ahead and run this now. And we'll see what's up. All right, so if I drag this, okay, we've got like a nice little Rune icon here. It's not being properly set, but the idea being now I should be able to drag and drop. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself some more room. Go to my Gunforged UI. I think generate test data here. Where's it generating the gun parts? It's generating 10 gun parts. Let's turn this down to 5. Okay, let's see how that looks. What is the goal of this? Drag and drop runes for UI? Yeah. So the runes was not properly being dragged and dropped either. I don't remember if you were at the stream yesterday, any key, but I've got drag and drop working for gun parts. So instead of having to use the weird clicking and holding key binds, you can just click and drag and then drop it onto any gun you want. And the preview remains in place while you're dragging, so you can still see the numbers, and then you can just drop it there, and that swaps out the part. Obviously, I'm going to make that a little bit more visually appealing as well, but that's what we were doing yesterday. And so now I'm just trying to bring that same behavior down to the runes here. And then I think eventually what I'm going to do is when you start dragging a gun part, it might just like dim out or lock these slots so that they're not visible. And it might highlight this in some way. But yeah, I got to figure that out still. But anyway, the runes currently are not drag and droppable. That's what we're doing now. Okay, so now we need an inventory slot here. Good Impromptu Saturday. Yes, indeed. Welcome, Defected. Good to see you again. Okay, so inventory slot. So now there's this gun part inventory button. So I have to do a little bit of thinking on this, but I do need this can drop data and drop data function. So I'm gonna go ahead and just copy all of this basically. Put this in my inventory slot here. Okay, so can drop data. So this needs to be Rune drag data, get drag data variant, data as object as Rune drag data. This signal I'm gonna have to re-implement. So can drop data, okay. Okay, so this is the thing that I'm gonna need to handle outside of the class. So when drop data gets called, I'm gonna do Rune drag data dropped. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Signal, public, delegate, void. This is one of the worst parts of C#, honestly, is just like public delegate void, public delegate void, public delegate void. It's like, it gets old, but I don't know how you would fix that anyway. Rune drag data dropped event handler. What do you want, cat? Let's do another cat cameo. Another cat cameo. Oh no. You're famous. Fridays for me are stand-up meetings, clearing PRs, and handling my team's task lists. No bandwidth for YouTube. Okay, so you weren't here. Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a terrible Friday. I'm lucky enough to have worked at places where they were like, we're not doing any meetings on Friday. And that was really nice. Because it meant you could slack off in the morning. Hello, Azir. Cat. He's a good boy, but every time I start streaming, if I don't pay enough attention to him in the morning before I stream, then he just sits at the doorway and just meows loudly. I don't know if you can hear it or if my noise suppression is working good, but it's certainly not good for my attention span. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So, yeah. So what I'm essentially going to do is I'm just going to detect if the data can be dropped and then emit the signal that the data was dropped. But I'm not actually going to change anything here. So I think what needs to happen is that this drag stuff needs to be handled by the inventory grid itself. So I think this is where it's going to need to be handled. So in here, drag begin, so on and so forth. Set capacity, set slot, add affix to next empty slot, set affix at slot, get affix at slot. Actually, this is going to be a little bit tricky. How is this all working over in the Gunforged UI here? So when inventory grid manager component. So this component is responsible for tying a bunch of inventory grids together. So I wonder if I should just forward the signal. I probably should just forward the signal. So essentially what's happening is building up context. So there's like a tree. Maybe I should draw this. I don't know if this would be helpful to show how I'm thinking about this, but maybe it'd be useful for some of you to see how this is all working. So I've got, somebody told me how to increase the size of the brush and I don't know. I don't remember how to do it. Okay, whatever. So there's kind of a hierarchy here. So there's 3 nodes here. These are all inventory grids. And then, or no, let's, yeah, so let's do this. Okay, so dot. Okay, so this level down here, these are all inventory slots. These inventory slots, they handle various mouse events and various combinations of mouse events. So this is where my drag is being detected at the inventory slot level. However, I need to know, if there's 3 different inventory slots or inventory grids, So each of these is an inventory grid now. So I need to basically be able to say this inventory slot started a drag, but how do I get it to know that I want to drop it onto a different inventory grid? Like these things are separate. The level of inventory slots down here. Oops, wrong color. The level of inventory slots down here, like they're not aware of the other children. They're not aware of any other inventory grids. And the inventory grids are not really aware of each other either. So the question is, how do you get data from one grid into another? And that's where this level comes in at. This is the inventory grid manager. And the inventory grid manager, wow, this program is so bad. The inventory grid, oh, here's the brush size. Why is it over here? Anyway, the inventory grid manager is what coordinates everything. And so basically what's ending up happening is I'm building up layers of context. So down here, this inventory grid will emit a signal with no data attached to it. Or this inventory slot, rather. The inventory slot down here is going to emit a signal, which is going to be handled by the inventory grid that it is a child of. That inventory grid is going to say, okay, I'm going to handle that, but then I'm going to pass up another signal up to the manager that has the added context of telling the manager which specific slot it came from. And then the manager, when it starts to emit signals to some kind of, let's say there's something out here that wants to listen for changes in the inventory manager, then what this will do is this will send yet another signal up with even more context. So you've got no context here. Let's say drag started, right? So you start dragging on an inventory slot. That gets emitted to the inventory manager, or the inventory grid, sorry. That inventory grid will add the context of here's the specific slot that started dragging, and then emit that signal up to the inventory grid manager. Now the inventory grid manager knows which grid it came from and which slot it came from. But then this can then forward that data out into whatever's listening with the full context and says, okay, here's the event that happened, here's the grid that it came from, and here's the slot that it came from. So that's kind of the hierarchy that's going on here. And that's a really good way, in my opinion, of like keeping everything modular, but then still getting the context that you need is you keep forwarding signals up the tree, and then you add context at each level of forwarding, if that makes sense. And then by the time you get out of the sort of root manager node, you should have every bit of information you need to make the decision that you need to make. So that's kind of, I don't know if that detour was helpful, but that's how this is working. So I'm going to be forwarding some signals like the drag began here. So in the inventory grid, let's see. So I'm going to want to forward that here. I had a car for 30 years. He was a long-haired, cat. His name was, he was a long-haired Russian blue. His name was Tick, Rib Tick. That's great though, 30 years. That's a long time. We do one stand-up a week before people have a chance to forget what they did due to the weekend. Oh yeah. That's how I did it in a shop prototype I made. One way I could figure out how to remove item from one slot, add it to the other, and deal with a signal that allowed player to pay for it. Yeah, I think this is a good way of doing it. Okay. So anyway, let's see. So I need to forward this. So child.drag began plus equals on slot drag began, pass in the child.drag ended plus equals on slot drag ended, child dot Rune drag data dropped plus equals on slot drag data dropped. And this actually needs, this is going to actually contain the drag data. So if I go to my inventory grid, where's my inventory grid? Inventory grid here. Oh, I need to go to my inventory slot. Yeah. This is going to be Rune drag data in here. Perfect. I'm not using these mouse entered and mouse exited signals, so I might as well get rid of that. Okay. So I've got kind of the setup here. So now I need to add all these. Private void on slot drag began, inventory slot. Private void on slot drag ended, inventory slot. Is this, let's see. Oh, goodbye, cat. Okay. So onslaught drag began, onslaught drag ended, and then I need private void onslaught drag data dropped, inventory slot, and then also Rune drag data. Okay, and then I need to forward all of these things again, I think. Slot pressed, slot secondary pressed. I think I just need to pass along the slot index. The other thing that I need to do, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is in this get drag data, I need to do, is there a way to, let's see. Can I just return null out of this? Let's see, if gun part affix is equal to null, just gonna return null here. Hopefully that works. Oh, I can't return null. Variant dot. Oh, that's interesting. How do I make it so that it doesn't return any drag data? Because if the slot is empty, I don't want the drag to actually happen. So return, like, can I do variant? Return variant dot. Is there like an empty? Godot dot Godot object. Okay, I guess I can just set it to a null Godot object. That should work, because then the can drop data will end up being null. And it won't set any kind of preview. I hope that's fine. Well, we'll see if that works, I suppose. We'll have to test that. Hello, Rune. How are you doing? If you want it to just be nullable, variant, and signature, is that gonna work? I don't think that's gonna work, because then it won't be a proper override, right? Yeah, I can't do that. because then it's not overriding get drag data properly. It needs to return a non-nullable variant. I couldn't type the full signature because YouTube thought I was trying to XSS cross script. What is it called? What is that? Cross script? I don't know. I don't remember what that means. Not too bad. Good. Good to hear. No worries. No, I appreciate the suggestion. Cross-site scripting. Yes, that's right. I remember that. Okay. So hopefully that works, because then if that's just an object set to null, it's not going to set the drag preview at all. And then this can drop data is going to return null because the object is going to be null. So, or it's going to return false. Yeah, so that should be fine. Okay. So now I need to basically signal public delegate void slot drag began event handler int slot index signal public delegate void slot drag ended event handler int slot index. So we're going to forward these here. Init signal name dot slot drag began inventory slot dot get index. Okay, this is the kind of the tedious part of UI development. Slot, what is it called? What did I call it? Slot drag data dropped. Int slot index rune drag data. Slot drag data dropped. And then rune drag data. Okay, so now we're forwarding all those signals, so that should be fine. On slot began, I need to make those lambdas. Okay. So now let's go to the inventory grid manager now. This is what ties everything together. So on grid slot pressed, I don't need any of this anymore, so I'm actually going to get rid of this. And I'm going to do grid.slot drag data dropped plus equals index rune drag data. So now I've got those things coming in, right? Rune drag data and as well as a slot index. So on grid slot drag data dropped index rune drag data and grid. So now I have the grid as extra context. Private void on grid slot drag data dropped. Int index inventory grid destination grid. So this is the destination slot index, and this is the destination grid, and this is the rune drag data. Now the thing is, I need to detect when the drag begins as well. Inventory grid. Oh, I want the grid first. No, I'm going to reverse these. Just keep the order that it's coming through in the signal. So I do need to listen for the drag begin. Slot drag began plus equals index. I don't think I need that slot. Oh, it only comes with the slot index anyway, so on grid slot drag began index grid private void on grid slot drag began int source index inventory grid source grid. Okay, so now I have everything. So now what I can do is I can basically copy this. So source grid. So this dot source grid is equal to source grid, source index, affix resource. So I might not even need Rune drag data necessarily. Well, I guess I do. Maybe I don't, but I guess it's good to have it. Destination slot index is going to be source index. Okay. So now when I begin the drag, it's going to set up all this source information. Rune texture rect. This inventory grid manager component. This is going to go away. So this Rune texture rect. Goodbye. Get rid of this. So this is going to greatly simplify a bunch of things. Is holding item. I don't know what any of this is. Let's just get rid of that. We'll just see. We'll just see what it works. We're just going to delete some stuff and we're just going to see if it works. I don't think I need the clear anymore either, but this certainly doesn't need to be here. Okay. Okay. Let's see what happens. So, and then on dropped, I need to basically copy this here. So what does clear do? Set slot invisibility, false, source grid. Yes. So I want clear to still be a thing. Source grid, get affix at slot. Yeah, the Rune drag data isn't really used, but I guess we'll see what happens. All right, I'm gonna run it and see what manner of chaos has been introduced. Did you go to sleep thinking about this? That's how I do my art. I fall asleep coming up with the idea solution. No, I mean, I know pretty much what I'm doing now. I actually went to sleep thinking about a game idea that I had, which I'm not gonna tell you about, but which I may take like a weekend to prototype, assuming that Gunforged development is going well and I don't need absolutely every hour that I can get working on it. But no, like I think there was certainly a period, I guess 2 days ago, where I was thinking, how do I get the drag and drop to work? But I basically know what needs to happen now, so. But yeah, those moments where you're like really engrossed in something and you can't stop thinking about it, that's actually quite fun. If you don't know what it does, remove it and see what it breaks. Yep. I'm almost positive that all the stuff that I removed here is fine. Oh, this affix. Oh, I don't need this affix anymore. Oh, interesting. I agree with that fun statement, yeah. I love when I get onto an idea and I can't stop thinking about it. I just love that feeling. I was talking with a coworker one time about like, he was big into meditation. He's like, yeah, I'm really big into like just taking 20 minutes and like calm your mind because there's so much going on. It's like, I don't relate. I don't want my mind to be calm. Like when my mind's going like 1,000 miles per hour, that's when life is really fun. So, but you know, nothing against him. If you find meditation helpful, then by all means. But yeah, I want everything going on all the time. Let's see. So if I start dragging this, boom. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Awesome. So now let's try putting that there. Drag that over, put that there. Look at that. It's basically working flawlessly. I actually don't even need that Rune drop data. I guess it's good just for typing purposes because then I can't, you know, drag this over onto those slots and it breaks. And I don't have any errors in the console either. So look at that. So I just need the Rune icon now to be updated. Wait a minute. Let me try something. Is this working the way that I thought it was? Let's see. And the nice thing is I don't need to have that at the bottom anymore, that inventory grid manager component. What happens if I drag and drop at the same slot? Oh, nice. Look at that. Working good. So I'm going to move this inventory grid manager component up here. I have to get ideas onto paper when I have them, or I will not stop thinking about it. Yeah, I got you. That does help. Yeah, this idea I had for a game, I might end up taking tomorrow and just like spend a bunch of hours prototyping it. Cause it's one of those things where it's like, I think that it's going to be really fun, but it should be easy to build a proof of concept in like a couple of hours and find out for sure if it's going to work or not. And I don't know. I don't want to tell you about it. It's a super secret project. It's in the Firebelly archives, the classified docs. Okay. So what do I need to do? I need to change that Rune part preview. So all the way back in the inventory slot here, we can get rid of all these things. Was dragging true. I'm not even emitting these drag began. I'm only using the drag began, right? Yeah. I probably should implement the drag ended just in case I ever want it. Notification drag end. If was dragging, then we're going to say emit signal name dot drag ended, just in case I ever want to connect to that drag ended in the future. If I don't implement that signal and then 2 months down the line I want to use that and it doesn't work, I'm going to be stuck for like 30 minutes wondering why it's not working. It's because I didn't implement it. So I'm just going to implement it even though it's not being used right now. The alternative would just be to delete that signal outright, which I might have already gotten all the code written and hooked up, so it's not so, I don't know. I guess I could delete it. Maybe I should delete it, but I'm not going to. So now in here, this Rune drag preview, Rune texture rect, set icon, right. Public void set icon, texture 2D texture. We'll just pass that along. Okay, so Rune drag preview dot set icon gun part affix dot texture. How do I get the texture? Resource dot icon texture. There we go. Rune drag preview was dragging equals true. Okay, and I need to check if dragging on an empty inventory slot is going to break. Okay, seems to work. And the icon is now being preserved as well. So that's great. So now I can actually see which rune's being dragged. I need to disable the tooltips when dragging is happening. So I need to disable all these tooltips and gun previews. And also when, oh, maybe I do need to use the drag ended, because that I can just erase all of the inventory slots. So I need to figure that out. So the inventory grid manager component, set slot invisibility. So basically what I want to do, I think I just want to call clear. So I'm going to get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. So I need to call clear. Okay, so I do need this. See? See? Slot drag ended plus equals. Oh, goodness. This is the bad thing about source generated code is like, I wish I could click on this and go right to the signal here, but that's fine. On grid slot drag ended. I'll just follow the, well, yeah, I don't really care actually about those things. Private void on grid slot drag ended. Clear. Chemical X cooking in the background with that super secret project. Yeah. It's going to infect everyone. That's a joke. Don't, please, YouTube, no demonetize. I'm working on several games aside from my main one, particularly a Tiger Heli clone that I'm currently calling Helicopter of the Tiger variety. Interesting. Is there some kind of, what's the hook for that game? Is it, are you referring to a game that's already made? Like, is Tiger Heli a game that I'm unaware of? Because I'm imagining that game, like the way you describe it, I'm imagining like a 2D side scroller with some weird helicopter controls where you gotta control like the pitch and everything, and the acceleration. Hello, Breckheck. Welcome back. Good to see you on this Saturday morning. Tiger Heli is an old Nintendo game. Okay. Yeah, I'm a very bad, I guess, game developer. I haven't played... You name a classic game, I haven't played it. Okay, so releasing the drag is working now, fine. So that's not erasing things anymore, which is good. So I need those tooltips to not... Oop, what happened here? Null reference exception. I'm gonna close this, I don't need this anymore. Okay, how do I replicate that null reference exception? It's a bullet hell from above, up scroll. Gotcha. I gotta figure out how to replicate that error now. How do I replicate that error? Excuse me. Why? Okay, so that's very concerning. An error that randomly happened that I can't reproduce no matter how much I try. That's very good. That's not good. Well, I guess I'll just ignore it for now. Now, the question is, do all these still work? So if I do right click, shift right click, yeah. So the hotkeys will still work if you want to use the hotkeys, but you can also drag and drop if you'd like. Okay, so let's commit that. Make sure I didn't leave any comments in place that need to be removed. I'm a little bit concerned about that error that I saw, but hopefully it'll pop up again and I can fix it then. Oops. All right, so add drag and drop for runes. Okay, so that's looking good. Now let's go back to the Gunforged UI, and we want to disable that tooltip from happening, which is already happening in the case of if you're dragging a gun part. So if you're dragging a gun part, the tooltips go away. But if you're dragging a rune, well, it goes away for the other gun parts, but not for the runes. So let's go ahead and open up that Gunforged UI. I'm just going to go close others. Oh boy. All right. Let me look at something else real quick. I might need to store... Oh, wait. There, the error appeared again. What in the world? Yeah, so I need to keep a track of the hovered rune index. Or no, that's not going to work, is it? How am I showing the rune tooltip? Inventory tooltip. Okay. On inventory slot, mouse entered. Inventory slot. Oh boy, I don't even know what's going on here. I don't even know what's going on here. Okay. On inventory slot, mouse entered. Clear. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. On inventory slot, mouse entered. If, ooh, am I even... Dragging part index is -1. Less than 0. Then we're gonna do... We're just gonna return. But we also want to keep track of... We also want to keep track of the data that's being dragged currently for the rune drag data. Because we don't want the tooltip to show up if you're currently dragging a rune either. This is not emitting any signals, huh? I'm just gonna do this. Public void or public bool is dragging. Return source grid not equal to null. If the dragging part index is greater than 0 or less than 0, or the inventory grid manager component dot is dragging, we'll return out of that. So that should suppress those tooltips from showing up if you're currently dragging either a gun part or a rune. Oh, there it goes. Is this being cleared before? I wish I knew how to reproduce this. Maybe the push rune should be a green U-turn road sign. Would also be square and better fit the rune shape. Maybe, I don't know. I've already spent too much time on it, so I'm probably not gonna revisit it anytime soon. But I'm sure it could be better. Hello, Snow Hornet. Welcome back to the stream. I had my friend check out your VOD the other day. He was excited to see a dev with no comments in his ancient code. reminded me of something, I guess. Reminded him of something. Yeah. I don't like comments. I try to avoid comments whenever possible. I think I have a handful of comments in the code, and that's mostly just because if I'm doing something weird that is not straightforward, it's usually because it's being done for a purpose, and I have to remind myself like, hey, I know this looks weird, but I have to do it this way for X reason. And I have a very, very few amount of those comments scattered throughout the code. Otherwise, I try to be no comments. Let's see. Oh yeah, I was gonna see if I can get this to work again. I don't know how to reproduce that error. I don't know when that error is happening. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Oh, there it goes. I got it to spit that error one time. Anyway, the tooltip is not showing up anymore. Oh wait, I did my logic wrong, that's why. I did my logic wrong. This needs to be greater than -1. Oops. Okay, and then I'm gonna also do this here. So where is the other place? On gun part button exited, entered. We're gonna do the same thing here. I should probably private void is dragging. Return, oh, why do I keep doing that? Private bool. Return dragging part index is greater than -1, or we're dragging something here, and now I can do this. Is dragging. Okay, so if is dragging, we're gonna block all those things and also block that. On inventory slot, mouse exited. Might as well just block this as well. Maybe that's just, maybe there's something going on there with the state being modified because of the various hovering not being blocked. So I wonder if that's just gonna fix it now. Okay, so I've got these tooltips working. Drag and drop. Why is the tooltip still showing up? I need to clear the tooltip when the dragging starts, that's why. On inventory slot, mouse entered. On drag began. So when the drag begins, I need to send a signal. Signal, public, delegate, void, drag began, event handler. In my Gunforged UI. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me check something here. I'm gonna need to connect to, because I have 3. Oh no, I can, no, wait, what am I doing? Okay. I'm thinking about this wrong. I need to do this. inventory grid manager component dot drag began plus equals on inventory. Yeah, on inventory drag began. All the way down. Let's go ahead and put this here. Private void on inventory drag began. We're going to do inventory tooltip dot clear. Oh, this script is so large, but I think it's almost there. I'm going to add some like nice to haves and whatnot, but okay, that didn't work because I'm not emitting that drag signal now. So we'll just go ahead and this on drag began. Okay, now this should work. World would be a better place if we just turned off comments. Hot take. Yeah, a lot of times comments are like add 1 to I plus equals 1. Yeah. The other problem with comments too is that they become very quickly outdated. If you're using comments as documentation, especially if you're working on a team and you're not being disciplined about it, like the comments can just become out of date really quickly. And that's actually more confusing because you go into a file, the comment says, hey, this is what this block of code is doing. And then you look at the block of code and you're like, am I wrong? Or is the block of code not doing what the comment is doing? And so now you're in a realm where like, well, is the code supposed to be working as the comment says? Or is the comment supposed to be documenting how the code currently is? You end up with this like, it's a data in two places problem, right? You have two different sources of truth that are now in conflict. And it's like, well, which one do you defer to? Like, is the comment correct and there's a bug in the code? Or is the code correct and the comment needs to be rewritten? There's no really easy way to know in a lot of cases. So it's better if the code is just the source of truth in terms of how it should be working. And that's the other good thing about like unit tests and whatnot, right? Like unit tests, in addition to testing your code, can also sort of document like what are the business requirements, how is this code intending to be working? And if you've got a comprehensive suite of unit tests, then those can serve as a source of truth. And those have to be updated as you change the code, otherwise they're going to start failing, right? So if you do require some sort of like in-code documentation, I would push for unit tests for that purpose instead of writing comments. But these are all ideal things that we're talking about, right? And in the real world, things are not so ideal. YouTube stream text box has failed me, yeah. Fails on me consistently. That's how the YouTube comment box goes. All right, what am I doing? Right, we gotta see if this works. Okay, so no more tooltips or anything. I should probably disable the hover state as well. Maybe I could just disable these things. I don't know what it looks like to do that, but... Okay, so now I can put that here, swap that, boom, boom, boom. Okay, that's looking really good, actually. Okay, that seems to be working just fine. All of my inventory capabilities are still working good. And I can still do this kind of thing where I right click and then shift right click. So I can still use those quick equips if I want to, but I can also drag and drop. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So that's looking good. Yeah, I want to add, I don't know. I need to add some kind of like extra UX stuff. I mean, I should change these tooltips for a little bit real quick. So this preview is no longer a thing. This is going to be drag, pick up, change that to drag, drag. Let's see if that works. Just wish they'd let us edit our comments. I'd have far less corrections, yeah. Gotta go do Saturday errands. Good luck to you. All right, thanks for joining, AnyKey. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Oh, there's a deer. About 15 feet away from me. Hello, deer. All right. Let's see. So drag, drag, drag. Yep. Sweet. So yeah, I think what's really missing now is like, as soon as I start dragging a gun part, it should, there should be some kind of animation or something that happens telling me that I can drop the part into here, and maybe like a hover state as well. So it's very obvious that the part is going to be accepted when I drop it. And then the same here, like if I drag here, ideally any empty affix slot should start like glowing or animating or something. So I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. I know I want to do that, and I know how to accomplish that technically. What I'm not sure of is like what the visual should actually look like. Like, do I want to like do a marching ants kind of outline around the slot so that it's like really obvious? Do I want to do some kind of like pulsating animation? Do I want to have particles? That's something that I'm not entirely sure what I want to do in terms of the visuals. So yeah, that's the thing. Got to think about that a little bit. See deer in yards so often here in Texas. Yeah, they're a problem where I live. They are very, very common. Can you implement some jank so I can understand? Yeah. I was shook when I learned that deer actually shed their antlers regularly. Yeah. I'm surprised like how common it is to find like deer bones in the woods and whatnot. I have not one but two deer skulls that were gifted to me that were found just in the woods somewhere. Actually, maybe I'll just go grab it real quick. It'd be interesting. 1 second. There we go. So this one was gifted to me in 8th grade, actually, and I still have it. It's pretty cool, right? It makes a good shelf decoration. And it was humanely collected. No deer were harmed. Well, I mean, the deer died, but not because of any human action. But yeah, you should 3D scan that using any game. Well, that's a thing. It's like, yeah, it's cool. You could use it for all kinds of purposes. Now you gotta make a deer skull enemy. I could. Hello, CodeStar. Welcome to the stream. Died of old age, surrounded by his deer friends. Yeah, you know what's actually really sad is that it's actually very unlikely that animals in the wild die of old age. It's much more likely that they die of starvation because they become too slow to eat anything or to run away from predators. Dying of old age is a very human thing. It's not a very natural thing. Not just a skull, an entire skeleton. Yes, a deer skeleton. Man, you guys really want to push my art skills, don't you? Okay. So let's see. Yeah, I gotta figure out, I gotta think about what kind of visuals to do here. What should I do? I don't know what to do. All right, let me think about this for a second. I'm gonna take a quick break though, get a refill on my drink, and then when I come back, maybe I'll do some brainstorming here to figure out how to do the visuals, or, you know, we can always just like pause the visuals there for now, since this is like functional, and work on something else. But give me a couple minutes to think about it. I'm gonna go refill my drink, like I said, and then when I come back, we'll figure out what we're doing. But in the meantime, I would encourage anyone watching now or watching the VOD to check out the links in the description below for all the ways that you can support me. Your support is greatly appreciated. And yeah, thanks in advance. And thank you all for being here. Again, I'll be right back in just a couple minutes and we'll get right back into it. Okay, I'm back. I'm all stocked up with my Sam's Diet Cola. Very nice. All right. Well, I'm sorry to say that I don't have any ideas for this this animation here. So let me just play around with it for a little bit. I think it's working great. I think it feels good. I just need the visual indicator to happen. Those upgrade indicators should probably go away as well. Yeah. But I'm not seeing any issues. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is feeling good. I just don't know what kind of visual indicator I can have. It could be as simple as just like changing the color, I guess. Yeah, it could be just as simple as changing the color, maybe. Yeah, I'm kind of out of ideas. Okay, well, I'm gonna merge what I have here back into my master branch because this is working great. So finish, drag and drop for runes. I'm gonna need to come back and revisit how to make that. I'm gonna have to do some research into other games and see how they handle similar situations, I think. Close all this. I'm gonna go ahead and merge that. On my other monitor here. Okay, that should be good. So I can switch back to master here. Hopefully that doesn't break my Godot too badly. Okay, just make sure that this is all going well. Okay, so I actually think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna maybe start work on a new enemy type for the graveyard. I have a lot of stuff that's in progress right now, but most of it's just like I need to go back and do the sound effects. But so here, I have this idea for like a slime enemy for the graveyard that has like a little smiley face inside of it or something. And this slime enemy will, once it gets killed initially, it will split into two new slime enemies that are smaller. So it's like the classic trope slime, right? And then when each of those dies, the smiley face that's inside of them will become like a homing missile that just like rockets to you and then explodes in an area. So I thought that would be really interesting as just an enemy. It's kind of like a 2-phase normal enemy, or I guess 3-phase, because it'd be the initial large one and then the 2 smaller ones, and then as you kill each of those, they send like the smiley faces, maybe they become angry faces and they just rocket toward you and explode. So that's kind of the idea. So I want to see, maybe just get something drawn up here and see what that looks like. Do I want to do 64 by 64? Let's see. Player.png. Just grab this as a reference. Let's make the canvas size a little bit bigger here. Okay. So there's my reference. So I wanted to make it like a pink slime. So I'm going to get the outline going here a little bit. Maybe it should just be more rounded. More perfectly rounded, I should say. Because then I can animate it and give it like a really gelatinous kind of feeling. So I'm not too worried about the shape. That looks all right. Okay, and then I think slimes are, I feel like they're going to be very difficult to draw, to get all the internal shading, to make it look translucent with a limited color palette. It's going to be a little bit difficult, but let's see. Let's see how it goes. Maybe I'll draw the smiley face first and see how that goes. So I think what I could do maybe is give it like a little bit of a shine. I don't like that. Give it a little bit of a shine there. Let's do the smiley face. It's got to be somewhat pink. It's got to look like it's embedded in there. Yeah. And then for the face, maybe we do something like this. No. We want to make this, we want to make that look like a rounded ball too. Okay. Well, we're going to see how this looks. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to... I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't have enough colors. I can't do like a... Well, I could maybe. Let's see. What is a... Could use a blue? No. No, I can't do that. For the shading. That shading's just not good anyway. Let's see. Can I do this? I gotta give the impression of it being rounded. There we go. That should work. Oh, a purple would work. Yeah, that color might work. I'm just playing around with this a little bit. I think I liked the uniform sort of like this a little bit better. Yeah, we'll stick with that, I guess. What about an enemy that eats your bullets and shoots them back at you for one of its phases? That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I like that. I don't know how difficult that would be technically, but... I could certainly explore it. Okay, this is looking all right. I wonder if I should use like an orange for this. Maybe not. Okay, I think that's probably fine. Maybe I use a yellow. Doesn't look bad either. Okay, so I need to... Now I gotta figure out how to do like a gelatinous shading. Oh goodness, I did not make my life easy, did I? I did not make my life easy. I mean, would it be like, let me just try something, bear with me here. I'm gonna look at a reference. I gotta cheat here. Okay. Okay, so it looks like highlight, mid color, and then darker. That's cool. That's a good one. Slime. Yeah, it looks like it's got darker edges, lighter outline. This one, yeah, see, this one looks really translucent. So it's got like a dark bottom. The interior is, I guess, a little bit darker than the exterior. There's a highlight. Okay, that's a good example. That one looks really translucent. So let's see if I can just replicate some of that here. So if I do at the bottom here, if I do this, like so, I'll clean up those lines a little bit. Okay, so if I do that, and then if I take a lighter color, and then where they intersect. Oh, interesting. I'm gonna put this on a new layer actually, so I can see where they intersect. Oops. It's kind of bad that it's the same color as the face, but okay, well, this is on a new layer, so I don't need to worry about it too much. Because what I'm really interested in is, like, if I turn that opacity down, it starts to look translucent because there's some overlap in the color. But I don't want to use transparency because I haven't been doing that at all. So what I really want to do is I want to choose like a different color to color in these parts here that are overlaid. And I want to see how that looks. Okay, so now if I do this. This is just a rough mock-up. I'm going to change this probably later. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about, like that. But I need to change the color. Oh, I guess I could just use that color again. That looks fine. Okay. I think I know what I'm going to do. All right. Delete that, delete that. Let's try again. I'm going to make this a big blob in the center like so. Turn this down, this opacity down so I can see. This layer, I want that to become that color. Wait a minute. Okay, one thing at a time. One thing at a time here. Getting a refill coffee once doing some dishes. Already 100% better. Make sure the light source follows the edge of the top too. Yeah, I know about the saturation. I'm sticking to a limited color palette though, so I don't have free choice of color. But I think I'll play with the lighting and stuff too, or the highlights. As soon as I figure out how this is working. So I basically just need, in here, I need to start painting with pink here. Paint this. I have to trust the plan. Here we go. Okay, so now with that in place, what I can do is erase this. All these parts that are overlapping, erase those. And then let's see what happens when I put this back up to full opacity with that. Okay. All right. It's getting there. Now I gotta figure out what to do with this guy. Oh, right. What I was gonna do is do kind of the same thing where I take this guy's face. I'm gonna change it to like a very obnoxious, obvious color for a second here. Okay, turn this down. And I basically just need to erase everything inside of his face. Yeah, erase everything inside of his face. I can turn this opacity back up. And I think what I was thinking is I could take this. Well, that doesn't work. Yeah, that's not working. You can't edit the colors I have. I cannot. No, I can edit them. I'm not going to because every single color in the game is one of these colors that you see here. There's no opacity, there's no opacity, there's no changing slight saturation of the colors. Every single thing in the game is using one of these colors. And so that's kind of the constraint that I've adopted. And so I have to try to accomplish this without any changes to the colors here. Yeah. Now this here, yeah, I gotta figure out, maybe I should do like a... something like that. I mean, I suppose what I could do is maybe... Oops. That actually doesn't look terrible. I gotta make this, though, look a little bit more amorphous. Whoops. No. I do want to make this look a little bit more amorphous, but not in the direction that I was going. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't look super terrible, I suppose. Maybe I should fill those in. me save what I've got. I don't like, yeah, I just don't, there's something, this is very tricky. Oops. There we go. All right, assets, entity, new folder, slime. Might have missed why it has a face, but why does it have a face? It's going to be a two-faced boss. This face is going to come out when you kill it and just like rocket toward you and explode. Doubles and jags, yeah. It's a work in progress, don't worry. It's all mock-up right now. Will all be addressed, or at least the stuff that I noticed will be addressed. This side, I mean, the other tricky part is like, sometimes you want the jaggies, because if it's an amorphous blob, it's not supposed to have like perfect curves, but it's a little bit hard to convey that. I'd probably need to do some kind of like anti-aliasing a little bit, right? Like do something like this. Actually, maybe I should outline this whole thing like that. What is that going to look like? What is that going to look like? I think the slime that I was looking at kind of did the same thing. Ooh, yeah, that looks pretty good. What was I looking at? Yeah, so they did outline. I mean, they used, I guess, a lighter color there. But there are some slimes in here that use like a darker outline. Like this one. Although this slime is pretty good. So I wonder what happens if I did use a lighter color. Like this. For some of the parts up here. Maybe even lighter than that. That looks kind of good. Looks like the slime is a little bit folded right there. Or like it's got a thicker, squishy part right there, which is perfect. Do something of the same thing over here. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Oops, I shouldn't be changing. I gotta get my layers in order here. Goodness, everything's a mess. Oh well. Oh well. This outline, for some reason, goes all the way down here. That's fine. Okay. You can create all sorts of shapes by sticking to that. However, there are definitely occasions where a wild jaggy is called for. Yeah. Right. Yep. I actually included that in my pixel art tips video that I made. I think it's looking really good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not really happy with the face in here, but like it doesn't need to be perfect either. I'm probably gonna edit that face. Maybe I'll make it a skull or something to be more thematic. I thought the face would be funny though, because I wanted it to turn into like an angry face. And an angry face when it dies, but I'm actually curious to see now. I'm gonna get rid of this reference here. Move this to the center. Oops. Move this to the center. Can I do this? Can I? Oh wait, I should do this. Sprite canvas size. Can I go down to 64 by 64? Is that going to clip things? It's not. Okay, perfect. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right, that's fine. Actually, you know what? I should probably do it. It doesn't matter. Slime. I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene for this. No, not paste from clipboard. Character body 2D. Floating mode. Slime. Scenes. Game object entity. Put the slime in there. Okay, I'm just gonna get the let's get the hit flash component in here. Hit flash component. Node 2D for visuals. Add the sprite. Oh, why is that set to 1 right now? Okay. So let's change this origin. I guess the origin should go there. Maybe it should go there. That's probably fine. I think the other problem with the face is that it probably should be a little bit like turned. So it's got a directionality to it. I'm probably editing the wrong layer. Oh, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not entirely happy with this face, but I'll address that later. Okay. So, I'm mostly just interested in animating this. It could turn into the skull, yeah. You won't be able to animate the slime via the player. Not the movement and jiggles unless I lack some knowledge. Oh, ye of little faith. Actually, I'm not sure. You might be right. But I have to animate it with the animation player because there are no frame by frame animations in this game. So that's another constraint that I have. But I think it'll be fine. Let's see. I mean, it's not going to look good. Like if you freeze framed the game, it's going to look like a jumbled mess, but you don't freeze frame games, right? So let's see what happens. So sprite position, I don't want to animate the position. Why did I do that? Move. What am I doing here? Scale. So I'm just going to do something very simple here. 0.05. Insert key. Actually, I wonder if I should just like 1.25 there, 0.75 there, then 1.25 there, 0.75 there, cubic, loop. Okay, and then play with the curves a little bit. Needs a little bit more bounce. So I think what I need to do is do this, zoop, make it bounce a little bit outward, which means that it's going to be like 0.9 and 1.1. And then return back to 0.75, 1.25. Okay. Those need to be spread out apart from each other more. I'm gonna reset these. Azir, you're being annoying. Come on, go away. Dang cat. I'm just gonna play with the curves. See if I can pull something out of this. Okay, I think that this is too short of an animation. Let's try it again. So this is gonna go in. Just go back to the 0.75, 1.25. So it's going to go like this. It needs to retract real quick. Needs to come back then. 1.25, 0.75, 0.9, 1.1. So that's looking more snappy. I wonder what happens if I bring this back to 1 right here. So that's looking a little bit better. So you get a little bit more of the bounce now. And I could probably even exaggerate this more. Like if I did 1.5 there. And then this probably can be 1.5 in the X. So it looks kind of bad in the editor, but in the game, it might not look so bad. Let's find out. Mild Kirby vibes. Yeah, there's that. Wonder how it would look using soft bodies to give it shape. I don't know. I saw the movement. I was wrong. It can be done. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna render nicely during mid animation. Like it's gonna look like a jumbled mess. But that's kind of I'm kind of relying on that a little bit in the game. I think the stretching the same distance each motion looks less likely. Can you randomize the distance it travels? Yeah, I could. That would involve setting up like function calls and everything, and then having code to randomize it, because you can't assign like a random value to the animation player, unfortunately, but it can be done. But I don't know. The other thing that you could do too is you can randomize the animation speed to some extent. So if you've got a lot of entities on screen that are all playing the same animation, what I will typically do is just add 10% or subtract 10% from the animation speed, because then it staggers everything really nicely, and it gives everything a slightly different feel. So there's a slime. You can see how like some of the outline disappears when it gets to a certain stage, but I should turn on debug mode so I can't die. But there's the slime. And it'll just kind of like slide around. I've got a lot of sliding enemies. But the idea is that when the slime dies, it will spawn into stew. It will spawn into 2 smaller slimes, each with the face inside of them. And then when you kill the smaller slime, the face will come out of the slime and then just like rapidly charge toward you to try to delete you. That's a little bit blown out in terms of lighting there. I wonder if I should just reduce the lighting here. Point light 2D, energy 0.85 maybe. Still playing around with the lighting on this level. That looks a little bit better. Oops. It's not very dark either. Like, the light doesn't need to reach into the corners or anything or be super strong. I love these mushroom guys. Those mushroom attacks are very easy to dodge. I might make those quicker. I might do that right now before I forget. Okay, this looks much better. It's a little bit blown out still, but I think that's fine. Slime looks decent though. Might add a little bit more bounce to that, but mushroom. Time 1.5. I'm going to reduce that to 1 second. I think the mushrooms need to be a little bit more threatening than they are. I'm just changing random stuff now. Sometimes you just got to do that. It should absolutely leave a trail that slows the player as it moves. Ooh, that's a good idea. Bounce is better now for sure. Good. Okay, now I'm going to increase the speed of those artillery bullets. Sorry, I'm just changing this too. Okay. Where am I changing the speed of the bullets? Oh, it's based on the time in the air. I guess that's fine. I forgot to add that. Slime is an item in my backlog, that's right. Die, skeletons. Okay. Spawn Zombie Tycoon, where is he? I love this guy, this boss. I can't be hurt in the middle of the wave, haha. Alright, anyway. Let me add this. Create slime enemy. Code art. I got a lot of stuff in progress. I gotta start actually finishing these things. I'm not sure that I like this mushroom change, so I'm just going to turn it back. I might change something else about the mushroom. Yeah, I might change the mushroom in a different way to make it more difficult. Okay, initial. We'll work on slime enemy. Bam. Not that I'm complaining, I'm just wondering, what is the thought process behind so few gravestones? Oh, it's just not complete yet. That's the only reason. Like, everything you see is not complete. The graveyard is not like, it's not ready to ship. Most of this, like, this is just in place. Because the way that I have to do it is like, I don't know what looks good, so I drew a few props, I placed them around, and now I'm kind of in the stage where I'm like, sitting on it and thinking about it and seeing how it feels, because I don't want to go overboard and draw a bunch of variety of headstones and place them all over and decide like, actually, I don't really like how that's working in the level. So I drew a few of them, scattered them across the level, and I'm just kind of like sitting on it until I, you know, figure out, yes, I like that. No, I don't like that. Like the graveyard is still very much in flux. I'm not entirely sure that the mushrooms are going to stay. I don't know if I'm going to I need to add a bunch of tile variety so that it's not so uniform across here. Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah. So I would just say like, yeah, if anything looks odd to you, like, yes, please feel free to continue pointing it out. But there's a good chance that it looks odd because I'm just not done with it yet. That's also on my to-do list, I think. Yeah, refresh graveyard tile set. I haven't marked this as done yet because I still got some things that I want to round out with it. So yeah, that's, oh, I already committed that. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's going to be it for the stream today. I want to thank you all for joining. It was great hanging out with you. Thank you for all your suggestions and feedback. Yeah, everything's shaping up. So I got a lot of work done this morning. It was a lot of fun, so I don't know. What else can I say? I love working on Gunforged. I love hanging out with all of you. And yeah, again, if you'd like to support my work, please check out the links in the description below. I've got a couple of Udemy courses for sale that teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. I've also got a Gunforged Steam page, so you can wishlist that if you're interested. You can sign up for my newsletter at firebelly.com, all of that good stuff. So thank you again, everyone, for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Even being here alone is a great amount of support for me, so I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Take it easy as well, Defected. No Discord coming soon. Maybe after Gunforged is released, maybe. But that won't be for another couple months still, so we'll see. We'll see. All right, take care, everyone, and I hope you